we're going to list characters, but before doing that, what are like other general questions or just reactions that we have, so that as we mention characters, you know, we can then kind of link stuff in that's like appropriate.
McMurphy doesn't have any real mental issues.
Slightly debatable, but yeah, compared to the other ones, no. And so yeah, that's something that we can certainly mention when we put his name up there, like why he's there. Like when we put the characters up there, like why are they there, or what are traits about them that that would kind of help you maybe remember who they are a little bit, would be the stuff that we'll mention. But you know, compared to Billy Bibbit, Martini, doesn't have the. Harding's an interesting case that we'll also kind of get into, but yeah, his McMurphy's situation is certainly different from the
Don't
rest.
people, like, in court cases plead, like, if they're a psychopath or something, like, so they don't have to get the sentence that they were originally, like, so they can blame it on their mental?
I mean, you can. McMurphy, and I mean, there's no, I think, ifs, ands, or buts about it, is a despicable scoundrel, you know, human being. If you were to classify McMurphy as anything, I think con man would be the main thing, where he's always trying to swindle people out of stuff. Now, he's also in there for assault, battery, rape, and all those kinds of things. So certainly he is more than just a simple con man, but he's trying to certainly gamble, make money, swindle people, all of that kind of stuff with it. Him and Dr. Spivey says they're from the same high school. The chances of that being true, like, very slim, you know, to none. So he's just kind of saying that, I would say, to get into good graces with them. McMurphy's on a work farm, does not like the situation of the work farm, so you begin to act belligerent, and that's what kind of sends him to being then committed. They're reading through his file, you know, and even kind of talk about maybe he's not really insane or have any mental issues. Could it be that he just simply wants to trick us? So that whole con man aspect could be kind of coming in with it. McMurphy's pretty much looking for the easy way out, dealing with his whole punishment. The problem is he doesn't realize that he's not sentenced to the hospital, you know, like you had with the question, but he is committed. So where he would have 4 months left on the work farm, he's assuming I'm going to have 4 months left in the mental hospital, but he's there as long as they feel it necessary.
So, I know, like, he gambles a lot, and they actually gamble for money, but, like, isn't it, like, against board policy to gamble for money? But how does he get away with that?
And some of those things will kind of change, you know, a little bit as the book kind of goes on, certainly. When you come in, you do have, like, possessions, you know, and they mention, like, the canteen and whatnot that they'll stop at. So there's a place that you could buy, you know, your Twix bar, you know, a 6-pack of Coca-Cola, and, you know, your cigarettes and all of that kind of stuff. They have those things. Now, they do get rationed, specifically when it comes to the cigarettes, you know, when that becomes a big deal when they keep them behind the glass. You wouldn't go, hey, I owe you $5, let me go get it to my wallet. But like your personal belongings and things like that, they would keep record of it. So you could go up to, like, not that there was a debit card or something, but if you wanted to purchase a pack of cigarettes, you're not really going to give them money directly, but it would go against your, like, account. So you could go, hey, how much do I have, and all that kind of stuff. Money coming in for them, could be family, you know, that's going to kind of add money to the account depending on how long you're there. I don't recall any references where they're getting paid for cleaning the bathrooms and all of that kind of stuff. It's possible that might kind of happen. If you're in jail, you know, you can earn a very low wage, you know, for working in different shops and stuff like that. But they do have access to money. If Dale's wife wanted to bring in stuff for him, you know, he would certainly be able. She would be able to.
So what's actually wrong with Billy Bibbit? Because the only thing I could think of was his stutter.
Any else besides Bill? I mean, he's certainly anxious, nervous, you know, all those kinds of things. Anyone pick up on anything else with Billy? I'd say there's like maybe 3 references that kind of take place for Billy. And they deal with like his hands. Not Dale in the way that, you know, the Chief always talks about Dale's hands, but he is.
Is he the one who does this? like their fist and like held their hand in their fist and then their.
Yeah, I do.
Trying to think of the example.
Like when he was in all the meetings, like trying to make his point, and he got like mad.
Oh, Cheswick is the one who. Cheswick's like the mini McMurphy, but he's never like standing up for it, so he'll get really mad and all that kind of stuff. For it. Billy's got stuff on
Oh,
here,
the cigarette
and he has
burns.
stuff on here. He has razor scars from cuts, and then also scars from cigarette butts. And so it would be that he has, whether, and you don't get it clear if it was like total attempted suicide or something that took place. With the cigarette butts, the assumption would be it's not that he was abused or anything like that, but that he also does that to himself with cigarettes from time to time. So if he's getting overly anxious, nervous, self-conscious, that he kind of goes down that path. So what could have been, Emma, since you were asking the initial thing, it's possible that there was like an attempted suicide, possibly at one point. Keep in mind, who's his mother? They make one reference to this, only one or two. It'll get mentioned later on. She is friends with Nurse Ratched, and she works in the hospital, not on the same ward or anything like that. So when he says, I could get an AMA anytime I want, I mean, he literally calls up Mom, hey, bring me the thing, and would sign off. You get the sense that Mom might not be in favor of that, because her and Nurse Ratched are close friends. But he has cuts and burns, which would make you think there's a good chance that that he very well, maybe not necessarily right now, but at some point has been suicidal. What other characters can we think of? Just okay. With Billy Bibbit, because he is not committed, you would get the assumption that he's probably made progress, or they at least think he's doing a little bit better if he would be able to leave against medical advice. If they thought that he was truly danger, you would think that he would kind of have more of a commitment there, that they would not let him come out right away. Anything about Harding we know?
His marriage struggle.
Okay. Remember his wife's name? Yeah, good. She pops up. Dale. He's the one, kind of in charge. College educated. Yeah. Who's the bull goose loony around here?
He's got the hands and the big hands and he hides them.
Kesey is not subtle, but not direct about it, because this is getting published 1961. Any guesses with Harding why he's there? I mean, he's put himself there, but he feels inadequate, social anxiety, depression stemming from his sexuality.
Okay, I was gonna say that, but then you said you were like, any guesses? And I was like, oh, I'm definitely wrong.
Now, it's not there for they go, he's gay, so he must be in a mental hospital, but it's him struggling with his sexuality, where he basically does not feel, quote unquote, manly. So, and Salinger kind of does a similar thing with Holden, where he has some homophobic tendencies taking place. Bromden's always focusing on his hands and things like that. So they're using stereotype of dainty hands, always talking with him. So when he gets nervous, the hands tend to go into his pockets and whatnot. So why would he be struggling with a marriage with Vera? Well, he's not attracted to her. She's not getting attention from him, that she would like. And now, but at the same time, she might be attracting attention from other people, that he's not happy that his wife's doing that, but he's not truly in love with her. So it's him, he doesn't feel like he fits in. So that anxiety, depression kind of stuff would come from it. Who else? Remember? Scanlon. Yeah, I'm just going to make more space here. Come on, there we go. We got Scanlon, Seafelt, Fredrickson, Ellis, Martini,
I don't understand.
Cheswick, Tabor, Vancini, Vancini's Pete.
Oh.
Pete's tired. Ruckley, don't quote him.
Wait, what is that one?
Vancini. Pete Banci, B-A-N-C-I.
Oh, Pete, okay. Oh, I thought Pete was
I remember Ruckley.
No. And then we got Roller.
The Colonel.
Matterson. And we probably didn't hit all of them, but we can kind of go through here a little bit. Scanlon's the one who likes to blow up stuff. So Stanlin is committed. He's not going to be able to walk out really at any point. So committed, blow stuff up. Ellis is nailed to the wall. Good question.
I thought he was I know Roller. I thought Roller did, but I thought Ellis did too.
No,
Like,
we,
that really gruesome death at the beginning. Wait, I have a question.
Where have I been?
What? So is Cheswick's death, was that an accident or was that his way of committing suicide?
Okay.
it's ambiguous. I would go on the suicide route for it. I don't think you can say it with 100% definitivity. I would go suicide because he jumps into the pool, and then the description is he like really shoves his hand into the grates, where and describes his chubby fingers and all that kind of stuff. Remember, Cheswick gets really upset about the cigarettes. I want my cigarettes. I demand my cigarettes. And I don't remember if this is the scene you're focusing on, but he really does the fist pounding and all that kind of stuff there. Cheswick feels empowered because of whose presence? McMurphy. Hey, there's someone here to back me up. So he really starts getting big about it, and then McMurphy just kind of sits there because this is after he's discovered the whole committed thing, and that he kind of has to be on good behavior. So Cheswick makes the scene. He gets taken away to disturb for a couple days. When he comes back, he apologizes to McMurphy. They take him away for a little while because then when they come back to the pool, they go to the pool, and that's when he's apologizing to McMurphy. And goes, hey, I realized you couldn't really do anything about it. It's okay. And then he goes into the pool and holds on. So of the characters that we have on here, you have one who very well may have suicidal tendencies with Billy. You have Cheswick, where I would say he has committed suicide. And then you have Roller the Squaller up above, who has castrated himself and bleeds out, which is certainly going to be a suicide that occurs. So, it's not a pretty situation necessarily with those folks. Ellis has had the shock treatments. He's now up on the wall. There's the moment where Ellis even goes to move from the wall, and then like his arm kind of goes back because he's there. I would say Ellis, this would be something to kind of hold on to moving forward with parts 3 and 4, where I would look at him as more of a foreshadow / symbolic character. I think Ellis would be an example of this, and I think Tabor would kind of be an example of this.
I feel like that was a flashback, right?
Well, there's many of them.
But that was like the major one where they were like he was the first to
Early on.
stand up.
He is the one who would have been fist pounding. I knew she was going to do that, so that was part of the joy. He is the one who would have been the disgruntled, belligerent, will make a scene in front of big nurse type thing. So what do they do with Tabor? He gets EST and then also brain surgery, what's most of the brain surgeries they do? Lobotomy, where you're cutting off, some of the aggressive part of him. So what happens is he becomes completely calm. Tabor, you're right, is a flashback Because Tabor, no.
He's vegetable.
He's not a vegetable. You could argue he's more chronic
Chronic.
than he was before, but Tabor has left. He's been allowed to, go back into the world. So he was belligerent. He was always causing fights. So what do? We're going to shock you. We're going to slice you, and then you are fixed. So you kind of get this foreshadowing taking place that what's the way to making a person better? We're going to go through EST, we're going to go through brain surgery, and you know what? Either you're going to be fixed or you're going to be nailed to the wall. And it's almost kind of like, imagine this, that you're, and I don't know if McMurphy would really kind of pick up on this, but you go up against the nurse every single day, and then you got Ellis hanging over there on the wall, peeing himself. What basically does Ellis therefore become if you're the nurse's standpoint? You want to mess with me? You want to end up like him? And you got Ellis right over there. So I think moving forward, there definitely will be some more kind of symbolic quality to him, but it's a deterrent if anything else. Look what happens if you go up against Big Nurse, and this is why really no one goes up against Nurse. You could end up like that guy. Or you could end up like Chief, who's been, the rumor is, 200 doses of electric shock therapy. Now you're deaf, dumb, mute, and you just kind of like, yeah, we'll still talk about it.
This is probably a dumb question, but how does Ellis get places if he's nailed to the wall? Does he not go to the meals with everyone else or sleep with everyone else?
It's like his daytime thing to be on. So he would be he would be probably considered. When Chief's running through the chronics, he makes reference to the vegetables and the wheelers, and the wheelers being those who would be in a wheelchair that you move around. So like Matterson, the colonel, who's a fairly new admittee would be one of those. But he makes reference to Ellison going back up on the wall, in the morning. So he does come down. He would be someone that Warren, Williams, and Washington would be bringing food to, and all that kind of stuff, the black boys. But basically, his day is spent on the wall. Martini hallucinates, sees things, plays Monopoly, rolls the houses and hotels instead of the dice. Pete Mancini, he is the one who is always tired. And there's also the flashback with Mancini where his hand morphed the one time, according to Chief, of course, into a club, like ball and chain, and then he attacked one of the black boys, and they didn't, I think it was Washington, and didn't realize what was going on, and then he shrinks back down to being tired again. So he had, at one time, the ability to kind of go against Nurse and whatnot, but then that has simply just gone away from him.
Did he actually attack and then Chief just made up the part about it being, or?
Chief's visions, I would say, are certainly a blend of fact and fiction. So Pete, yes, would have, I would say did attack, but a ball and chain, morphing from his fingers and all that kind of stuff would say no. Mr. King? Hey, no problem. Yep, you're ready for it? Okay. Yep. Kicking you out. The other person that would kind of be like a blending of fact and fiction would be, where'd you go?
I learned how to parallel park.
Ali Blastic would kind of be like the other one, because Blastic is the one who dies, but there's that whole dream sequence where he's kind of like on a meat hook, and then they rip him open and you get gears and rust and all that kind of stuff, and you go, what a totally completely messed up dream this is, and then the next morning they wheel out Blastic on a gurney because he has passed away, and then you kind of go, wait a minute, did that therefore really happen? No, but Chief's kind of taking events and kind of putting them all together in his own. So he's the one with rust, gears, all that kind of stuff coming out of him. So what do we know about Chief?
He's a character.
Wait, what about the
Got some-
characters we didn't
Well, I want to make sure we touch some stuff on Chief before we.
Got some visions, got some fog going on.
Okay.
There's a machine.
Does he ever talk? Like, does he make sounds up? Like, because I know, like, I remember something, like, I can't remember specifically what it was.
Chief, watch out! The black boys are coming. And he jumps into bed.
Yeah.
This is McMurphy's first night, and then McMurphy, he thinks he falls asleep and starts laughing. And goes, "I thought you was thief." Is the way he says it. So, no, he doesn't communicate or do anything except one time when he raises the hand. And when he raises the hand is when he comes out of the whole fog thing. So he and no other character mentions the fog. No other character mentions the combine. No other character even refers to Nurse Ratchet as Big Nurse. That's a solely Chief thing. If you were to do medical diagnosis of Chief, schizophrenic, hallucinates, and he is extremely paranoid. So you put all those things together, and then you start to get visions of plastic being ripped open on a meat hook, and the floor opening up, and beds sinking down into the depths of the dungeon. The fluorescent light bulbs are emitting fog and all that kind of stuff. You hear the machines whirling in the walls. The pills that they are taking, the medication, it's the little transistors and sensors that the Combine has and is able to control people. You can speed time up. You can make the sun go up and the sun go down. So certainly all of those things would be taking place over here. It's not really all that surprising in a way then. If you are feigning being deaf and dumb where you cannot interact with anyone, the only person you can therefore talk to is yourself. If you only talk to yourself or only think to yourself, you're the only one that you can express thoughts to or you wish to express thoughts to. You probably have a pretty good chance of becoming schizophrenic and paranoid, based on all those events that have taken place. What are other details about him that we know, whether it be within the hospital or beyond the hospital?
He came from, like, his family, they were, like, Colombian Indians. And they were in, like, the tribe.
So he is Colombian Indian on his father's side. And one of the things that you kind of learn as the story goes on, his mother, she is a white woman. So Chief is mixed, Native American, white, which could cause some issues so far as being accepted, kind of similar to what Harding's going through. As you get more flashbacks, you'll get more things going back to his childhood, because people will go, hey, when did he start being deaf and dumb and all that kind of stuff? You never get a clear answer to it. We know in high school he played football. State champion team, so he probably wasn't feigning being deaf and dumb then. But in his childhood, you can see that he kind of starts to feel that he is separated from other people. So he played football in high school. What's he do after high school? There's at least two things we know about him post-high school, before getting into the hospital, if you want to call it a hospital. Because when he talks about the fog one time, it gives him a flashback to when he remembers the fog in the fields, not on a reservation or in California, but he goes to the plantation mill, high school, actually. He talks about the airfields in Europe, where he was in World War II. Now he's been in the hospital for, they say, roughly about 15 years. It's late 50s when this would be taking place. So basically, from wartime to present is when he would be in there. Yes, like so far as Matterson is the oldest. Now he just got there, but of the patients that we constantly see, he's the one who's been there the longest. So everyone knows him as the 6'7" Indian chief broom who always sweeps the halls. They would have never known him as anything else before. So it could be something in war that sent him there. I think it's really honestly more of a mix of things that were happening in childhood, could have happened in war. You also know when Dale's wife shows up there in the library, do you remember where Chief is? Again, assuming he's telling us the truth with these things, but Chief is taking a look at magazines in the mechanical section because the year that he went to college, before the war, he was studying mechanics and all those kinds of things. So, whereas Harding is, the college graduate, Chief is also someone who's at least been to some kind of college or technical school. But his greatest fear of everything certainly is going to revolve around the Combine. Which begs the question, what's the Combine? We can start there tomorrow.
Oh, I missed my
Why not next?